Hey, Bikeaholic, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. These guys ride and support riders just like you. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. We are a Zero 3D distributor. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Hey, Bikeaholics, do you have your grip on?
You know, the biker gripper.
Simply the best motorcycle cell phone, GPS, radar detector, and EFI tuner mount on the market.
Oh, it grips so tight.
That's right, 18 pounds grip strength to be exact.
So sleek and strong.
That's right, fits American or metric motorcycles and comes in black or chrome.
So what are you waiting for? Get your grip on.
You can get the Biker Gripper exclusively in the Law Abiding Biker store. Head over to www.lawabidingbiker.com/store and get your grip on. Should we do this thing, Brian?
Yeah, let's get it going.
Rock and roll. Oh, yeah. Feel it. That's right. Welcome back, you freaking Bikeaholics. This podcast is for the motorcycle majority, the big MM, also known as the 99%.
Percenters.
That's right. That's right. Brian White, better known as a Grunt, on the Law Abiding Biker sofa there. He's only done a couple podcasts, so he didn't know where to roll her. He got the big eyes. He got the big eyes and looked at me. That's all right. I filled in for him. That's right, Bikeaholics. By listening to this very podcast, whether you like it or not, you are part of what we call the biker revolution. That's right, large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in motorcycle history. We're making it happen. That's right, we do have just one question for you guys. What are you waiting for? Mount up. Let me and Grunt take you on another wild-ass ride. Welcome back, you guys. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast, and of course, he's going to get the big eyes, high-tech redneck. There you go. That's all right. I was waiting. I was trying to cue you, man. I was trying to cue you. That's good. And there you go, guys. We are back. I do have, and here's what we were talking about, Brian. This is Brian White. You guys know him. We're going to call him Grunt from now on. You'll know him as Grunt. And he's been on a few podcasts, but none just mono e mono, just me and Brian. We've always had a third in the studio, and he stepped up to the plate. We've had a busy day in the Law Abiding Biker Grage. We're going to talk about that, but we don't have a song for Brian yet, and we were actually talking about that over dinner.
Yes.
And I looked up Grunt. I looked up Grunt before the podcast started, and we got some demonic heavy metal songs. So we couldn't find
fit the personality. I don't think so.
And Lurch had to leave. Lurch was going to be here. He kind of had a family emergency, so to speak. Nothing too serious, but he had to bag out. So he was here all day filming, but it leaves just me and Brian right here in the Law Abiding Biker studio. Now we have some great stuff going on for you guys today. I'll briefly tell you what the episode about, and that is, and by the way, Brian, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Been here all day filming with us. And Brian is becoming very involved in Law Abiding Biker Media. And let me just say this before I tell you what our main topic is. This will be some information for you guys. So, we're expanding here at Law Abiding Biker Media. We're not sure where we're going. We know where we've come from. We don't have a clear vision of where we're going, or, we've grown very, very fast. And the YouTube channel is growing very, very fast. Of course, the podcast is the #1 listened to motorcycle podcast in the world. We believe that based on stats that our host service provides us when we get monthly stats and all that kind of stuff. But we brought Brian on a whim, and I don't know what I'm doing here, guys, but I try to make the best decisions for us and for you guys out there so that we keep growing, and we want to stay true to how we started, but we also, as we grow, we need to Obviously, we need to take it to the next level, so to speak. And there's a lot of work done behind the scenes, and we need monetary compensation for that kind of stuff. And so, obviously we love the patrons and all that kind of stuff. And the patrons are really a foundation, so that kind of we know where we are monthly and what kind of services we can provide. But also we've got the store going. And with that said, I just want to say, and I think I've announced it before, but Brian is the newest employee, so to speak, of Law Abiding Biker Media. And Big Daddy's been running the store, Big Daddy Kane down there, and that store is super busy. And so I just felt it was time. Brian's a retired Leo, and he's very, very interested and very, very involved in Law Abiding Biker Media since I've met him. And so he is helping run up the store, man.
Yeah, getting all these great products out to everybody who needs them.
Yep.
We're having a great time trying to fill the orders, and we just keep getting order after order. It's been a busy, busy time lately.
Love it. And Brian's still getting up and running, but he's doing a phenomenal job. I couldn't, seriously, bringing you on is awesome, and meeting you, and it just kind of, that's how Big Daddy started. I wasn't sure. And hey, here's a good guy. I think he can take the store. And sure enough, and then you came along, and so, yeah, a lot going down on there in the store. You guys are busy, and I know, so if you guys are talking to people in the store, you may be talking to Rick or Brian now. Yep. So good. All right. So today's episode, our main topic is we spent all day in the shop filming for you guys a complete Milwaukee-Eight, Harley-Davidson Milwaukee-Eight 107 or 114 oil change, service, and safety inspection. That's all I'm going to say. We have a lot to talk about that. You may be interested in the new Milwaukee-Eight and kind of some of our findings and some of the things that, I'll just leave it at that. Actually, we have some great things to bring up, and some of it has to do with dealerships and some of the way things are done. And we did film it, and I will be editing it and hopefully have it out to you guys. It might be out by the time this podcast airs as we batch process, and we're a little ahead. With that said, since you're in charge of the store, Brian, you and Rick are in charge of the store, you and Big Daddy, we do have a new free video, and it's been out for some time. We've done a bunch of live stuff. And by the way, if you guys haven't checked us out live, we did a live today, didn't we, Brian? We popped a surprise live, right?
Yep. We just popped on talking about the service we were doing. And
yep, in the garage, behind the scenes.
Yep.
Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you have your notifications turned on, because I don't always notify anybody that we're going live, and we just suddenly go live. Yeah, you were going to say?
Well, there were several people that jumped right on, and one of the things we discussed were the Zero LED Fang conversion kits.
Very good. They were asking questions, and that's not even what the live video was about.
No.
But that's what's kind of fun about the live. People ask questions. It's their time with us, and sometimes we go off track, which we did.
And it was about the questions being asked. One of the things that was brought up was the Fang LED lights that I have on my bike, and we popped them on, showed a few people, and
good. Let me have you discuss those.
We had a few orders come in then.
Did you? Oh yeah, because guys were saying we're going to order those. Oh yeah, that's sweet. And you guys can see the orders because you have the software, the apps.
They come in on the phone. So
very nice. So let me tell them about the new free video, and then I'm going to tell you, let the audience talk. I'll let you talk about these. So the new free video is the Harley best and brightest LED signals and brake light conversions, Zero 3D Fangs, easy install tutorial. That video is blowing up. You can get it, of course, in the show notes, lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode number this is. And you can also get it at lawabidingbiker.com/0, the number 3D-Fang-LED, or of course, just search our website using the search bar. So why don't you talk a little bit, Brian, and just tell the audience, a lot of you guys know what they are because you get alerts on our YouTube channel, and you can set those alerts up on your phone and all that, guys, if you're wondering about that. But so some of you may not, who have not and are just listening to the podcast. So let me pull these up on our website. Right on the top bar, you can go to Zero 3D Lighting and Accessories and hit that tab, lawabidingbiker.com/store, and you will see the Fang LED signals. Why don't you just tell the audience basically how cool these are? We brought them to our store for a reason, guys, because we fell in love with them, and we believe heavily, if you haven't noticed, in Zero 3D and what they stand for and what they're all about and the quality of their products.
Yeah, they are very, very nice lights that will bring out a whole lot more attention to you as you're riding up the road. I love the front fangs, the way they have the little halo around them, and it gives you a nice additional set of lighting, and you can actually see it riding down the road at night.
Right.
You can tell as soon as I put those fangs on, I could actually see additional light.
And so what Brian's talking about, let me break that down, is the podcast is very visual, and it's not very visual. And so, so what he's talking about is your front signals, guys. Your stock Harley signals, they're halogen bulbs, and those halogen bulbs over the top of them have amber lenses.
Right. It's just a little running light, a marker light, like in a vehicle, in a car.
Correct.
And when you put the fang lights in there, which are a quick, easy change out, you just pop off the cover, unscrew the bulb.
So you pop off the lens.
Yep.
Yep. Just pop the lens with a screwdriver, right? And we have a video on this.
You screw in the new fang LED, and it's a dual prong socket, just like the light bulb, the halogen bulb that comes out.
Correct. So it looks like your light bulb socket with wires on it, exactly the same. Yeah, good.
You put it in, give it a little twist, make sure that it's seated the correct way. You'll have a short stub and a long stub on the height of the bulb. Get it in the correct way, twist it in there, and just pop the new
You stuff the little bit of wire back that there's wires on it. Yeah, good. That was a very good explanation.
That's how easy it is.
Push in, quarter turn, just like a bulb, right? And you hide the wires back. And then the reason they call them fangs, we should say that. The reason I think they call them fangs is they're beveled.
Right.
Is that the right term?
It's angled.
There you go. Maybe not beveled, maybe angled. Good calls. Explain it in your terms, because I like to hear how other people explain it.
The light is kind of angled as you look at the side profile of it. And
looks like a fang.
Yeah,
sticking out kind of.
It just kind of sticks out there. And if you go to the website, you'll get a great idea of what they actually look like.
We've got great pictures on there. And our video, if you go there, our video is embedded right at the bottom. I thought it was. Oh, yeah, there it is. We've got 2 videos there. 2 videos with my lovely face. There's my lovely face, Brian. But we've got, 0 to 3 fangs inserts, and then we've got the tutorial. But again, on our website. Yeah, it's good. They can get some good pictures and looks at them. And chrome and black.
Yeah.
They come in. What else about them? Yeah, so they kind of flare out. No, what I was going to clean up a little bit, Brian, was what he's talking about is we got off track. Do you want to talk about the go further with, stock or amber? They have amber lenses. So we get rid of the lenses because these are LED conversions. We're converting from halogen to LED. We're pushing in quarter turn, stuffing the 2 little wires back there, and then you're popping this whole new fang assembly right over, and it pops right into that regular Harley signal casing.
Yeah.
And so what does that change it to?
It changes it to a LED lighting.
White.
It gives you the white.
Instead of amber, right? Yeah.
And if you activate the signal actually turns to amber then in the middle.
Correct. So you don't have a colored lens anymore. The LEDs change colors. They're white running lights, right?
Yeah. And the great thing that I've actually noticed is if you are riding up the road, say you're going to give your left signal, your right light stays white.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
To give you the additional visibility, and your left signal would start flashing the amber.
Yep.
So it just really, everyone knows that rides motorcycles, it's all about visibility.
Yep.
I feel the fang lights really give you that much more visibility.
And the style of the angle.
They just look cool.
They just look badass. And you're converting to LED.
Yeah.
Which take less power. They're brighter. They last forever. They're not hot. They don't create heat. Everything that LED brings.
Right. And with the rear lights.
Yeah, good call.
It does the same thing. It gives you nice additional bright running lights on the rear. And
they're bright when you're behind.
Oh, yeah. And when you activate the brake, then the whole center section comes on additionally in the bright red. So it just...
Right.
Your visibility is so much better.
Yep. Good call. And they're the same fangs, chrome or black in the rear. You got to get both sets. Now, I will say one thing. If you've got the Street Glide or the Road Glide, you're going to get front and rears and be golden. If you have a Ultra, you're probably only going to get the fronts because you don't have the regular, if you guys can visualize the front of a Harley, you've got those stock kind of domed signals. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. You don't have those stock domed signals in the rear on an Ultra because your trunk, right?
Right.
Your trunk is your brake lights. And so we don't have, these are strictly conversions for those stock domes. So you could do your front, which would be just incredible.
In the Fangs, but there are other options for the filler panel lights, the bag blades.
And we've got all that. Right. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, Brian.
So those are great options if you do have an Ultra and want to convert to
LED.
If you, like my brother recently, got a quick detach kit for his Ultra so he could take that trunk off when he's not riding with his wife and stuff and wants to be able to run around town more like a bagger.
Right.
And he got the conversion kit and now has bag blade type lights across the back of his saddlebags.
Nice. And the bag blades are a Ciro product and they're also on our website, guys. We just haven't done a video on it yet. We also have a video on doing the detachable trunk. It's a for purchase video. You can get it over at lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos. And that's one of our for purchase videos on how to do that detachable trunk. But yes, we do have other stuff, Ciro 3D, which stay tuned. That's why you want to be subscribed to that YouTube channel for sure, along with this podcast, because that's where we get out a bulk of our information. But those bag blades, you call them. Yeah. And there's filler inserts. We've got a whole bunch. We've got a box of Ciro products, like a huge box down there that we haven't even touched. They sent us, and we're a distributor either way, but they still, on top of us being a distributor, they just sent us a box of stuff they would like us to test. And we will in time. And of course, we just do it right. And we will do videos on it. And then we will get the videos to you guys on our YouTube channel and we'll embed them on those product pages in our store, right?
Yeah. And there's we always look for the good things and bad things of anything. And, you know, the things, the only thing I've seen that is any issue with them are some bikes that are overseas or in Canada that come with a single filament plug.
So instead of two nipples on the back of your light bulb plug, basically, guys, is what he's talking about. You'll have a single.
And that way you don't have running lights in those types of lights.
So basically your brake lights signals in the back are not just running all the time. They only go on when you brake.
On when you brake or signal. So.
Yep. The other thing is prior to 2014, you may need a load equalizer.
Right.
But I'm not going to explain all that to you. You can go to our store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. And at the bottom, there's fitment and load equalizer info. It lists out the years and whether you need, and the FLTRSX and all XS and all the model numbers and whether you're going to need a load equalizer. We don't need to go through that. But all the fitment information is over there on the website, guys. And just phenomenal. Phenomenal product. We're selling the hell out of them.
Yep, they're
for
great,
a reason.
well worth it.
What are we looking at for price here? 45 5-star reviews. Look at that on our store. I'm looking at our store. So Fang, what are we looking at here, Brian, for price on these? You run the stores.
They're $149.95 per set, and a set would be like the 2 front or a set of 2 rear.
So you're looking at $300 for front and back.
Yeah.
Right around there. So $150 for a single set up front. And then if you want the rears, then an additional $149, basically $95, $150. And you're up and running. And I'm telling you.
$299.90.
$299.90 for what? Oh, yeah, right. Oh, I'm tracking. You're doing the exact math. See, that's why Brian I can't do math. So he's in charge of all the store down there.
I've just seen a few orders come through.
That's why I see what you're saying. Yeah, the order's coming in. You see the total. So, yep, guys, help support us. That is a way you can support us, is shopping in our store. And we do it right for you guys with the videos and the pics over there. So with that said, what do you say we thank these people right here? Because you know what? This episode is sponsored by these particular people, guys. And we absolutely love our patrons. You want to thank them, Brian?
Sure. We have Christopher Garrett of Fountain, Colorado, a top tier. Also, Al DiPolo of Rochester, Michigan. Dave Anderson of Jacksonville, Florida, also a top tier.
And thank these three right here.
And we also have Walter Bliss of Neosho, Missouri. Great town. I know it personally.
Oh, really? Yeah, sweet.
And Stanley Johnson of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And Paul Wind of Highland, California. And I know Paul personally.
Yes, nice. We're going to actually ride with Paul, right?
Yeah,
Here
we'll
in
be
a week.
seeing Paul in a little over a week on our ride to California and Nevada.
That's right. And you'll hear more about that in the future. Probably you might hear that name. So we'll leave it at that right now. But thanks, guys. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. That's right. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk, because you can put a monthly cap on it, guys, so you don't go over your family budget. Get benefits, guys. There are benefits. Of course, depending on what level you sign up, there is stickers and T-shirts. And the biggest is getting into that private Facebook group, that forum where we can get to know you better and you can connect with the community in a much deeper way, all the way up to top tier who get all that plus access to our premium videos for free up on request. We absolutely, I've already mentioned it. You guys probably get sick of me talking about it, but I thank our patrons and I spend so much time on them for a reason, because they are the absolute solid, consistent foundation to Law Abiding Biker Media and the community we're trying to develop, and we can't get to know you better unless you get in that patron community. And we're all about meeting you guys and getting to know you better. And the recent patrons we rode with and chilled with in Canada, which Brian was a part of. Enough said.
Time.
Yeah, it was.
Great trip.
Unbelievable. And Brian knows what I'm talking about. Everybody behind the scenes at Law Abiding Biker Media, Brian's in that group too. And he knows the value of patrons. So please, guys, get signed up and just join the frickin' biker revolution. Quit standing by on the sidelines. Enough said. So we're going to talk about Brian's bike is actually what we worked on today. And he has a 2017 Road Glide Special, denim black. And, interesting thing is, how are you going to clean that denim black? How are you going to keep that clean? I don't understand. Denim, it's such a special paint, Brian.
I clean it with Bug Slide.
Oh, really? Yep. I would not have guessed
and
that.
Bike Bright.
There's the man that's running the store, but it's true. We're not just busting your balls, guys.
And, I wouldn't use the stuff if it didn't work good. I have a huge investment in that bike.
Yes.
And I completely love it. It does a fantastic job between the Bike Bright cleaner and degreaser and then the Bug Slide. It always looks nice. It didn't look so nice today because I rode up here and I killed many bugs.
Yeah, it looked like an autopsy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bug Slide, guys, it is good. We sell it right in our store. Our number one go-to waterless motorcycle cleaner, Bug Slide. That's right. Hit up the store in stock. Brian, right here, ready to ship it to you direct. And when he talks about Bike Bright, that's our wet wash cleaner. It's all good on denim paint. We get questions all the time, and that's cool. But yes, denim paint is a little bit special, but it's not that special. And that's just the matte finish. If you guys don't know what Hardy denim paint is, it's kind of a primer matte finish, but Bug Slide is safe on it. And so is our Bike Bright. Answer that question all the time. But we were working on his Milwaukee-Eight. You guys out there have highly, highly requested it. Now, let me say this. Prior, most of you guys that have been listening and following us for some time realize that for years, several years, we've had out the best Harley-Davidson oil change, service, and safety inspection videos for pre-Milwaukee-Eight motors. That's all the V-twin motors, guys, all the way up, 88 cubic inch, 96 and 103s. It's all the same. They just upped the cubic inches. You can get any of those. It doesn't matter if it's Softail. It doesn't matter if it's Dyna. It doesn't matter what model. It doesn't matter if it's a Sportster. It doesn't matter if it's a Touring. Guys, an Ultra, a Road Glide, a Street Glide. Enough said. It's all the same. We wrap it all into multiple video files. So you guys that have any of those bikes, you should not be paying a dealership. Absolutely not. To service your bike and do those every 5,000 mile maintenance, guys. And so you can get all those videos, some of our most popular videos, over at lawabidingbiker.com/2014 Harley maintenance. And that doesn't mean just for 2014. That just is how we labeled it. It's good all the way back to early 2000 and on. you'll be able to do a service on your bike. There's multiple video files. Like I say, it's got you covered. Everything. We actually show you more than dealerships do. And as we did and as we filmed today. So we had been asked, because of our popular Hardy maintenance videos, all this stuff will be in the show notes, by the way, guys, today's show notes for this episode. But we had been asked to do a Milwaukee-Eight. Well, Brian, luckily, because he's so involved in the Law Abiding Biker, he always steps up to the plate and had no problem putting his Milwaukee-Eight on our lift table, the Titan lift, which we're a distributor for, guys. This episode's just a commercial, right? No, it's not. We just try to tell you guys of our services and ways you can support us and all that. So all jokes aside, we are a Titan lift distributor, and we had it up on the Titan lift today, and he allowed us to do a complete oil change service and safety inspection on this. And I think we did a past episode. We talked about your new purchase, didn't we? Yeah. I don't remember what episode number it was, but all right. So yes, what do you got, Brian?
Believe it or not, we found a couple of problems that needed correction.
We did. So let's talk about this. And this is kind of a prelude to some of what we're going to talk about. So you guys, we've said it in the past. I'm just going to reiterate because I know that we have new listeners. Please understand your warranty. If you buy a warranty, Brian bought a warranty with his bike, which we're going to break down a little bit for you guys. This is actually very interesting information. I think you guys will find very useful from an everyday biker just like Brian. Doing a routine every 5,000 miles oil change and service on your bike, absolutely 100%. I've said it a million times. It can't void your warranty. You are federally protected from such by the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. Look it up, Google it. It basically says that dealerships cannot force you to have your routine oil changes and maintenance done at their facility. And they also cannot void your warranty if you choose to do those services yourself or have another mechanic do those services. There are a few requirements. The only thing you need to do is in the back of your service manual, or your owner's manual, I should say, you need to sign your name as the technician. You need to put the date and what services were performed, and you need to keep your receipt for the products you bought, such as oil, synthetic oil, and your oil filter. So these are routine oil changes and maintenance that are done every 5,000 miles. And your air filter would be included in that receipt if you had to purchase a new air filter or anything like that. That's it, guys. They cannot. And we've been in the game a long time, and we've talked to many dealership mechanics, dealerships, and Harley-Davidson service riders. And I can tell you that they will tell you the truth when you are educated as such, that you are 100% correct based on the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, that you can do the service yourself. There are a few shady dealerships throughout the country that we get emails on, but I guarantee if you go in and slap that little Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act in front of a service rider and tell him you know what you're talking about, he'll quickly backpedal. But yes, they will. Some very few dealerships, so we've had reports of that, and they are wrong, and you are backed federally. You have anything on that, Brian?
No, only that when I got this Milwaukee-Eight, it was the first Harley I had bought, and it was a new motor.
Talking to your mic, right in your mic.
It was a new motor, so I was really wanting to protect myself on getting the extended warranty.
And again, it was your first Harley.
Exactly.
And Brian, he had been hanging out with us a bit, but he had some different bikes before. So I totally get, and I'm backing Brian on it. And this is the kind of decision. So this is definitely not a dogging Brian, but yeah, go ahead.
So I bought the extended warranty on it, and I also purchased...
Which is fine, the extended warranty. I have no problem with that.
And they offered a package, and because I was getting the denim paint, part of the package was I could get the simonizing treatment on the denim paint.
A lot of people out there don't know what a simonized demon treatment... Tell them real quick what that is.
The simonizing is a chemical process that puts a coating over the painting. It actually reacts with the paint and creates a hard, like a ceramic coating over the paint.
And Harley dealerships have been pushing this recently, right?
Yeah, and it's got a lifetime warranty on it. So part of the package of that was I could prepay for a bunch of services, and they packaged that as part of the whole deal on selling the Simonizing and everything else.
Right.
It was a new style of paint for me. It was a new bike, a new motor.
Correct.
So
I get it.
I went ahead and I said, okay, just to protect myself, I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Right.
But
the extra package you're specifically speaking of is the extra package, right?
Right.
Or you're going to get to that.
Well,
the oil changes, right? Besides the Simonizing,
the first 12 services and the Simonizing.
I'm sorry, I may have missed that. My bad. So the first 12 services, which are what we're talking about here, guys, your first 12 oil changes and safety inspections, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
And part of that, and I understand dealerships. That's one of the ways they make some money on the whole sell of everything. And I got the bike at a time where I probably didn't get the greatest deal in the world, but I wanted to get rid of the bike I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get additional items. So I think I came out fairly good on the deal. But I also wanted to protect myself stepping into a new, big, expensive bike, especially when I was just retiring.
Correct. So I get it. Yeah.
I went ahead and got this stuff. I've learned a lot of things since then. And, I'll tell you, being a part of the lab team and listening to a lot of the podcasts and seeing a lot of the service and things on the side that I've learned since then, it really pays to learn this stuff. You'll save yourself a lot of headaches, a lot of money, a lot of time and effort. And if I had it all to do over again, I would have gone a different way. But with some of the stuff that we've found today, I am going to go back to the dealer and tell them they either need to correct a bunch of things, because one of the things I found out and have observed, when you pay for these service contracts, I didn't realize that you're pretty much just buying your first 12 services up front at the regular shop rates.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Break that down for me. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
So they don't explain that to you and don't really package it in there where you can see that, but you are pretty much just paying the shop rates and the oil and everything else up front, tacked into this service package along with the Simonizing paint.
I gotcha.
For your first 12 services. They are charging you for those at a technician's rate, but a lot of the times they will have the most junior guy there in the dealership. And I'm not trying to be ragging on all dealerships.
No,
there's a lot of great dealerships out there.
Absolutely, well said.
But if you have a dealership that's having a busy time, especially before Sturgis or anything like that, they're going to have the most junior guy out there running around doing oil changes.
Right.
Today, when we did this service on my bike.
Let's get to that.
Okay.
Let's hold that. That's good. And I'm glad. I was trying to find the episode, Brian, that anyways, you'll just have to back catalog our podcast, but you'll hear Brian talk about his decision to switch over to Harley-Davidson from
a Victory cross-country tour.
Yep.
It was a great bike, but once they decided they're going to stop making Victories, it was, okay, do I sit here and hold on to this, or do I move ahead?
And this was your first, going to Harley.
Right, yeah, purchasing my own. And
for the life of me, I can't find it. I'm going to stop so we can get on track. But anyways, Brian talks about all that in a past episode about that switch and going to the Road Glide and what he thinks of it and everything. So, so Brian, basically to sum that up, he did purchase that oil change package. Now, again, and I want to preface this, I know that we have a lot of loyal dealerships that listen to our podcast. They email us on the side. There's dealerships all over the country that sell for us our Harley boombox tutorial series of 3, which is our main boombox video, our software world map, and now I'm revamping it, and it's going to be the dealer location update and our ride planner. And they email us on the side all the time. And so we have a lot of cool dealerships. We have friends in dealerships and mechanics in dealerships. So we're not talking bad about all dealerships, but there are some. And we still, regardless of the friends, and they know my stance, is you absolutely, regardless of how much you like your dealership, I'm telling you, you're throwing away your money. And I know that's hard to say because I have friends that are in dealerships. I'm telling you, the mechanic isn't choosing the prices. Okay. He's just doing the work. And so he's not guilty of that. That's Harley-Davidson mothership doing that. But you are absolutely 100% wasting your money taking your bike for a service to a dealership, which is why we make these videos. You can save a ton of money. And then by saving all that money, you can go to the Law Abiding Biker store and buy Zero 3D Fang LED conversion lights. You know, there's just so much other stuff.
Plenty of bug slide.
Plenty of bug slide for your black denim paint or any denim paint. But seriously, guys, I'm telling you, you know, in our maintenance videos, we teach you guys how to do this stuff. And in this new Milwaukee-Eight, it's the same. We're going to teach you how to do everything. There's not actually a lot of changes, but nonetheless, if you have a Milwaukee-Eight, get that video. You'll be hooked up. So for the price of that video, you're saving so much money. They are overcharging at dealerships. And like I always say, regardless of money, there is nothing more satisfying and more comforting, and Brian is going to talk about this a little bit, than having your bike on your lift in your garage, wrenching on it yourself with a cold beer and some buddies, and knowing that shit is getting done right.
Exactly.
You know, you're on two wheels and it is your life, and dealerships are in a hurry, and, you know, nobody takes pride in your motorcycle like you take pride in your motorcycle, right?
And it's
just a core car. It doesn't matter. It's the same as a car.
The quality of work, you know, knowing that you're placing your life, you know, into that machine.
Correct.
And knowing that, I mean, after today, some of the issues that we found, it's like, wow.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, they were nothing glaring, but okay, what if it was something really important?
And they are, though. Done? They're not glaring like, but it is glaring to me because it's just like, it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like that's bike maintenance 101. So glaring in that effect. Right. I know what you mean. Let me preface this really quick. So Brian bought this first 12 service maintenance package. Okay, guys. And then he's been hanging with us a bunch. Again, it was first Harley, all that. So I think obviously he's opening up here a little bit to you guys, which is what this is all about. Just bikers bullshitting, bikers talking to bikers, guys. And so, you know, he's starting to second guess this package a little bit, even prior to throwing his bike. And you will get no better service on your bike than you get right here at Law Abiding Biker Media with Rick, Big Daddy in the shop, Brian in the shop, me in the shop filming, helping, Lurch in his beautiful, famous internet hands. He has hands in the videos, but Lurch is very
by Lloyd's of London.
That's right. Yeah. And, you know, so we just really care. And, you know, we're drinking some cold beers. We're working. We got the film studio set up. But so Brian bought this package. He had his 1K service and his 5K service. And so he's at about 7,500 or something.
Yeah, about 74, 75 right now.
Laying the frickin' miles down. So he get it up on the lift. We're filming. And this is not the first time these things have happened. We have brought other people's bikes into the Law Abiding Biker Garage before they saw the light and realized that they could do this themselves, and they've sat with us and we've taught them, or they've watched our video. We brought a lot of people and a lot of bikes into the lab garage over the years and put them on the lift when they see the light. And we have found these problems, a few of these problems, consistent across the board with bikes coming from specific certain dealerships. Now, we're not going to name any dealerships, and I certainly don't want you guys to think that it's a dealership near me, because it's not. I actually get along very much with my dealership, and I know the mechanics, and they're great guys, and they do great work. This was a dealership that was out of our particular area. And again, we're not going to name that dealership. We don't like to trash dealerships because I know a lot of them are really good, but this is a consistent thing that we're finding. So we dig into this bike, and why don't you, Brian, tell them you can start anywhere you want. Let's talk about problem number one, our findings.
Well,
5K was the last service you had done at this dealership.
I had prior deals before today that I noticed from that.
Talk about that first. Yes.
Right after I got the bike from the dealership, I met Big Daddy and my brother at a local establishment for lunch. And as I was riding out there,
beer?
Oh, of course.
Oh, you better have. All right, cool.
I was smelling a lot of oil, and I'm like, okay, that's not. I know they just did the service. Maybe they spilled a little, and it's burning off. So I get to the location, climb off the bike, and we had done before that the stage 1 air intake upgrade. And I look down near there, and I can see
free video on YouTube. Our stage 1 install on a Milwaukee-Eight. Good.
I looked down and saw where I had been getting oil blowback out of the stage 1 air, where they had overfilled the oil. So I cleaned it off, noticed that, it had made a mess in a couple of areas. It still continued to have some blowover for a couple of days. After that, I had been out on a ride one day, went home, parked the bike in my shop, went and did a few other things. And I think I had a couple of days where I didn't have a chance to ride the bike because I was playing golf, doing other things where I had to take my truck. And the next time I went out to hop on the bike, I noticed some oil underneath the bike. So I got underneath and started checking and found my drain plug for the oil was so loose I could spin it with my fingers.
Number 2. We have found that before on bikes coming from dealerships,
right?
Specific dealerships.
And it made me really wonder, okay, I don't think a true tech that does this for a living would make those kinds of errors. So that's where I came up, with the idea, trying to rationalize that.
We've seen this. We've personally seen this, and we know service writers that will tell you that, right? That's not necessarily for oil changes and simple shit, guys. They're having like guys that are barely, some of them aren't even certified.
The guy that's
washing bikes and moving bikes.
Yeah.
They do. They'll run down the, you've seen it, right?
Oh yeah. And
we've all seen it. So we're not saying something that isn't true.
Yeah. And I had noticed when I first bought the bike and had the simonizing done, there were spots on the bike that had been missed, quite obviously, because they still had dirt on them. And so I made a guff about that because, hey, this is a service I paid for. I want it to be right. They said, yes, absolutely. Somebody must have missed it. We will take it in and simonize the whole thing again.
Right.
So they went through, did it again. It looked good the second time, but it's developing this pattern of issues. Of
less than stellar work. Let me take it back just a little bit. If you guys don't know what he's talking about the blowback, what happens is, and we'll talk about it in our maintenance videos if you guys get them, is what happens is if you just in a hurry, if it says that your engine case takes 4 quarts and you just hurriedly dump in 4 quarts, button it up, fire the bike up, and send it out the door to the customer, what happens is it has oil blowback. What happens is your crank breathers, your lines blow back into the air filter for any excess blowback of oil. And if it's overfilled, which 4 quarts, the reason is when you drain your oil, you don't get everything out. And so oftentimes the capacity will say 4 quarts, but you only take 3.75, as was very similar today. We took 4.50 and the case called for 4.75. So what happens is that extra oil will just blow back into your filter and you'll get all kinds of frickin' oil all over your filter and it gets saturated and then it starts dripping down near your, right down on your timing cover and all that.
Yeah. And I tend to go fast, so it
correct and
ended up on the side cover.
And it's been 100. You're right, and it starts spurting back under your side cover, and it's been 107 where 110 where we live, and the bikes heat up, and the more hot they get, the more they blow back. So that's just a common thing. That just means they're in a hurry. You're supposed to put that particular a little less oil than it calls for. Fire the bike up, check the dipstick, and then add as necessary because you're never going to probably put full capacity in. So I just wanted to clean that up a little bit so the listeners know what we're talking about when we talk about blowback. So we just know that It was done, and that's the way it was done. They just put 4 quarts capacity, 4.75 in your case, and bam, kicked it out the door, and thus Brian had to deal with the blowback. So move on to the next issues as we move along here.
The next issue was another one that we found today as we were doing the maintenance, the oil change, and went to remove the filter.
Very common problem with these specific dealerships that we're talking about.
The filter would not come off.
With a specialty oil filter wrench. So there's an oil filter wrench that Hardy makes and aftermarket. I have an aftermarket one. But if you guys know what I'm talking about, they're kind of a plate and they're shaped like your oil filter, and you can put a socket extension on them, basically with a ratchet handle, and it will back your oil filter off.
Right.
Technically.
So
and not in this case.
Yeah, the two options that can be gleaned from this and talking with Big Daddy and...
Well, let me tell them what happened first and then do that. So we tried to back it off with this wrench, this specialty wrench, and what will happen if they're so tight, the wrench, there's ridges on the outside of the oil filter, on the very bottom, technically, of the oil filter, and those cut notches, so to speak, the way it's machined is that wrench fits around it. It creates some pinch points so that your wrench can undo it. Well, what will happen is when it's so tight, that wrench will just basically crush the metal and it will just spin on the outside at the bottom of that filter, which is what happened to us. And now you're in a predicament. Before you surmise what the problem was, you left for a little bit.
Right.
And let me tell you what we had to do to get that off. This will give you guys an idea of what you have to do. Because the regulator rectifier up front and the oil cooler are in the way, we have another strap wrench, one of those old school strap wrenches where you strap it around, all you guys out there that know what I'm talking about, and you reef on it, you get some torque. We couldn't get the strap wrench and we had no leverage. So what we ended up doing is putting that wrench on, and we've had to do this in the past. And again, this comes from dealership problems, specific dealerships, is we had to take a hammer and a flathead screwdriver and actually punch it through the bottom of it. And basically we punched it through, and what that allowed, when we started turning the specialty oil filter wrench, it would jam up against the screwdriver that was now embedded inside the bottom, and that kept it from slipping. And it was still a bitch, and it was tweaking everything, and we finally got it broke loose. Now in the video, we're going to show you the proper way to do all this, guys. Of course, this is a specialty problem, and so we'll show you how to do it properly with an oil filter wrench. And this is the thing about doing your own services. You know you're not going to run into these type of problems. So that is a way that you can get it off if you have to, if you run into that problem and you're switching from dealership to doing it yourself. You want to surmise the options here?
Yeah.
What we surmise might have happened.
The only two options that we can see as viable for why it was on there so tight is somebody either put it on with a wrench, which you should never do.
Telling you that's what they did, but go ahead.
Or they did not oil the gasket, grease the gasket at all with their finger, and put it on hand tight, and then during the heat, that gasket fused. But I didn't see the
I think it's
seat
both
afterwards. So
honestly, I think it's both.
It was probably, well, again, when I got this back, it was overfilled on that service. This filter was on so tight, we had to punch a hole to get it off. And the oil drain plug was completely loose, leaking oil out of the bottom.
Here's what I'll tell you guys. We talk about this in our video, and of course, this particular Milwaukee-Eight one is an edit. It will be after today, and I'll try to get it out hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, but I have so much video. All right, so to stay on track here, here's the deal, guys. We talk about this in our videos, and please, if you're listening out there, I don't understand, and maybe when I was younger, I did stupid things like this, but I don't understand. Here's what the dealership did. They put it on with a wrench. You don't put oil filters back on with a wrench ever. It doesn't matter if it's a lawn tractor, if it's a car, if it's a motorcycle, okay? You don't put it back on with a wrench. Here's the deal. Here's what I submit to you. you always take a little oil, you put it around the rubber ring and on the oil filter before you screw it back on. You hand tighten it and you get it to seat, and maybe another half turn with your hand. It shouldn't even be that tight. And here, I don't understand it. Go with my logic this way, all of you out there listening. Go with my logic this way. Let's say you don't quite tighten it enough. Let's just say that. I would err on the side of not over tightening it, because what's the worst that's going to happen?
Leak a little?
Nothing. Yeah. You're going to drop a couple leaks in your garage and you're going to go, oh shit, my filter is a little loose. And you just tighten a little bit more with your hand. This isn't a catastrophic failure, guys. I mean, you would notice it leaking a couple drips long before it ever was able to possibly back off there and leak an amount of oil that would ruin your motor. I mean, so put things in perspective when you guys are tightening these things down. It's not a big deal. Err on the side of leaving it a little loose. These things will seal. They're amazing.
Right.
I put them on so loose,
That's
guys.
what
Look at me.
gaskets are for.
Thank you.
So,
and they heat up.
Yep.
And they seal just fine. I've only seen one before, and that was on a trip, and Chewy's was leaking, and we saw a couple drips, and I go, oh yeah, your oil filter is just a little bit loose. We're on a trip. I reached up with my hand. I gave it another quarter turn, never leaked again. Yeah. It's just, so please guys, understand that. And again, this happened
right
at a dealership, and we've seen it before. This is like the fourth one we found from specific dealerships, not my local dealership, but, and again, it's just from lack of somebody doing it that is inexperienced and in a hurry. And go ahead, Brian.
Well, just to kind of button things up and close here, this, for lack of a better word, comedy of errors I've seen in the service on my particular bike from the dealership leads me to believe it's not a tech doing the service.
Correct.
Which that is the service I paid for.
Correct.
So
that's how they make their money, Brian.
I'm going back to my dealership and I'm going to point all of these things out and say, hey.
And before you get to that topic,
yep,
we aren't done with some of the things we found. So hang on.
Yeah.
So let's do that. And then we'll surmise what you're going to do, or we'll talk about what you're going to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's, again, this is not to hack on technicians or, dealerships and stuff. We understand things happen, but
correct.
They are running a business. Their job is to get these things in, get them out.
And it's not one thing you saw
right
from this particular dealership.
Exactly.
This is a laundry list of shit.
Yeah. So that's why we're trying to explain to you the benefit of this and what I've
And none
learned.
of this happens if you do it yourself.
Exactly.
None of this
firsthand, the best way to do it is to do it yourself.
Nice.
If you don't know how to do it, find out how to do it so
with
that you
a Law Abiding Biker video, and we got your back, and you will save so much money. Unless you actually like dropping $300 or $400 every 5,000 miles. If you're a loaded guy, go for it.
And waiting for time.
Correct. Yeah. Would you rather drink a beer and do it yourself and be back on the road? I'm serious, guys. I just can't believe guys pay that at a dealership, especially with things available like our videos and stuff. And I guarantee, I shit you not, guys out there, our video we did today, I have mechanic friends in dealerships. We show you more. We show you more than they actually do in the dealership for your service. I know that the sign up there says they do all these wonderful things, and they're busy and they're in a hurry, and most of it is visual inspections. I will just tell you that, guys. It just is what it is. This isn't just Harley dealerships. This is car dealerships. They do the same thing. They tell you they do all these things. Let me ask each of you out there, have you ever stood over your mechanic and make sure that he does all those things? Not a one of you can say yes, except me. Well, maybe there's a few others out there that can. I can tell you that they do what they need to do, and it's still safe. But sometimes people think, and we've had emails before, that it wasn't in our service video, that they didn't go through 100 different bolts and we didn't show them how to check the torque specifications on 100 different bolts on the Harley. That is not, I repeat, that is not happening in the dealerships, guys. You'll be lucky if they even check the front axle and rear axle torques. They usually just visually inspect them to make sure the pin is in there and that the front pinch clamp on the front one is pinched on your axle. They do not. Time is money, and they're basically changing your oil. And if something has a problem, like your kickstand is squeaky, they will grease it. If it's not, they aren't touching it. If everything's working fine, they aren't touching it. So we will show you way more, and you'll be more satisfied with our videos, guys, and what we show you than what actually happened in the dealership. So let's talk. You have something to say, Brian?
Well, I was just going to say, and it's funny that you mention the torque on a front axle nut because we found that my torque setting on my front axle nut was way off.
It was loose.
It was way loose.
Yep.
And the proper setting is between 70, 75 pounds,
right.
foot-pounds of torque.
Uh-huh.
And we went through and torqued that as part of the walkthrough inspection and found that, it was probably 55 foot-pounds.
Yes. So on your front axle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that, honestly, I'm telling you, there are some dealerships that will put a torque wrench on at least your front and rear axle. There are a lot that just simply do not do that, guys. And they'll visually inspect it, even if it's loose. That's what the pinch clamp for. We show you in our video. Even if that nut came off, your axle's not going to come up if you have the backup pinch clamp. And same with the clip, on the rear, the safety clip and all that. But we will get a little bit deeper into that because we found another front axle that was a little bit loose. And we will move on, guys, here. And hopefully this is just some great information for you guys. We hope it's helpful. And I just want to do this real quick. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome, lighting, and comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation, Brian. Grunt, that equals less time installing and more time riding. That's what we're all about. Zero 3D has a design team with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. These guys are bikers and care about bikers just like you, but they pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@zero3d.com, or give them a call, 715-808-0027. Zero 3D is distributed in the U.S. by Drag Specialties in Europe, Parts Europe and Zodiac, and Asia by Twin Art. Check at your local Harley dealership and ask for Zero parts. Better yet, head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. We're ready to hook you up. Grunt over here is just waiting. He's got a box in his hand. He's got some packaging tape. He's got a label. He's ready. Him and Big Daddy Kane, they'll hook you up. And by purchasing any Zero 3D stuff from us, you are supporting what we're doing right here, getting information out, like in this podcast, to the biker community, saving you money and making you proud to wrench on your bike. So, yes, go ahead, Brian.
The one last really...
Well, let's talk about that. Hang on, the axle, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
The only other thing was the front axle, and then it spurred Lurch to go, I'm going to go check mine. And he checked my police Harley Electra Glide. He checked my personal 2014 Street Glide Special. One of those he found loose a little bit. Was my police.
Yeah, and he checked his and Big Daddy's.
Yes. He checked Big Daddy's too.
Yeah.
My police was the only one that was a little bit off torque.
Right.
About like yours.
Yeah.
Yep. And the other thing is, check your torque specifications. We gave you a number here. That was for Brian's 2017 Road Glide Special. Those torques have varied over the years. So whenever we give torque specs, always check your guide and make sure. So yeah, go with that, Brian. We're doing good, and we'll wrap this thing up. We're doing good on time.
Okay. The other issue that we found was during the inspection, the belt tension.
The final drive, secondary belt tension, which is your final drive belt to your rear wheel. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
I don't know if this was a dealership problem, though. I think
it may not have
you've never had the rear wheel off.
Nothing that I know of yet.
Correct.
Where the rear wheel would have come off.
It is interesting though, Brian, because out of all the bikes I've worked on, I've never really run into one of those that was like that. And we'll break it down a little bit more. But I almost, and I'm just speculating that for some reason somebody had your rear wheel off on that bike, because that's not normal.
Yeah. The only thing, I mean, I know it's never been off on anything we have done.
Right.
And with the dealership, it's only had the 1,000 and 5,000 services.
Correct.
There. So, but the thing that gets me going is, okay, whenever you buy a motorcycle, you get charged a huge setup fee.
Correction.
So,
or not correction, but correct. Yes.
Even if it came from the factory that way, why wasn't that caught in the setup?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, in the inspection, they should have determined, okay, wait, this is too tight.
See, and again, they just want to get bikes out. Yeah. You know, everybody thinks this, not everybody. There's a lot of people, because a lot of people email us, that think there's something so magnificent and about Harley, that everything is so squared away, and mystical is the word I'm looking for.
Well, and that's one of their
just
selling
like any other
points.
car dealership. They're moving bikes out the door, and things get missed.
Right.
And so what Brian's talking about real quick is his final bite belt drive, which is his Kevlar belt that goes to the rear wheel on the left side of your Harley-Davidson. And that belt has a certain deflection or tension, to sum it up for you, but it's called belt deflection. And it has a certain range. And on your belt guard, your plastic belt guard for most bikes, there have been Harleys in the past. I've had one that didn't have built into that belt guard a little window with 16th inch graduation marks. Basically, in this case, they have changed over the years on whether it's an 8th or a 16th. But in this case, they're a 16th. And that belt, we have a little gauge. Of course, we reveal all this in our maintenance videos, guys. That's why we encourage you to get them. And you push up with a certain amount of pressure on this gauge, and it should be within specific graduation marks. And in this case, his belt was way too tight. I could tell with my hands. I've tested so many belts. I could push up with my hand. I can get a good sense just because I've felt so many, and I could clearly tell. And then we put the gauge on it, and it was as tight as you could possibly get the belt, because on the back, on the axle, of course, we show you this in the videos, guys. I'm trying to explain it on a podcast, but there's little cam plates, and some older bikes actually had screws that you could screw in and out on the back of the struts, and that would move the axle in and out and tighten this belt. But now they're like machine cam plates, diminishing radius cam plates, and you turn those, they're on the back axle, and that there's little nubs that come out from the struts, and that basically will pull the wheel forward and back to tighten that belt. And his was maxed. The cam plates were maxed. You couldn't have got it any tighter, right? Yeah.
The setting that it recommends in the manual is 1/4 inch to 7/16.
And this is the graduation marks we're referring to on the belt, the little window.
So it would be 4/16.
4 notches up, 4 tick marks. Yeah. On
anywhere between 4/16 and 7/16. So you have a 3 tick mark window for
where the belt
proper
should be.
tension. It was at 2/16.
Right at the bottom.
Yeah. So
right at the
I mean, it
bottom.
was really tight, which, as you noted, can cause issues.
Excessive wear, on the pulley, on the belt. It can cause some other, it's just going to be excessive wear on some parts. Yeah. And things are going to give out early. Yeah. So we had to actually adjust it in our maintenance video. We're going to show you how to adjust that, exactly what we had to do to get that into proper range for his belt deflection. Again, those are just the kind of things, guys, that, you should be checking. And again, we reveal it all in our maintenance video. So that was just another problem that we found. This is a brand new 2017 Road Glide Special Milwaukee-Eight with only 7,500 miles on it. We found all these things. And these things with your new bike, even though it's brand new, these are the kind of things you should be checking. And now that he's checked it himself, he can ride out of here tonight after this podcast knowing that this frickin' bike is squared away.
And knowing our upcoming trip, it's going to be squared away. That was one of the things that really made me feel kind of let down by the dealership and stuff, is that, we're going to have another 2,000 or so mile ride here in about a week.
Couple weeks, we're heading to Nevada. If you guys don't know, we're heading to Nevada. We're heading to California. We are going to lay down like 2,000 miles in 4 days. We're going to throttle down. We're meeting one of our prospective new sworn few MC chapters down there. Anyways, enough said. By the time this airs, we'll already have done that trip. But yeah, we're going to throttle down. We're doing some riding, Brian. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But, that could have been another 2,000, 2,500 miles with all these issues.
Yep.
But if we hadn't have done this, never would have known.
Yep. Good point. And I did want to mention real quick, guys, that we talked about a 1K service. We get a lot of questions on this. Let me sum it up for you. Your 1K break-in service, your 1,000 mile break-in service on a new bike is I repeat, no different than your regular every 5,000 mile service. The only reason they service it at 1K is because they want to get the oil out, because you get a lot of metal shavings in it right off the bat when you're breaking the bike in. Other than that, there's nothing different. It's the same frickin' service. It's just an early break-in service. We get a lot of questions about that. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. And I think that's all the major stuff that we found wrong. I do want to talk about the new clutch reservoir. Brian, I also want to talk about your decision based on all this information and maybe what decision you've made to do. All right, so we love our patrons, Brian. Love our patrons. The only way we can get to know you better, we want you involved in the biker revolution, in the community, in that private Facebook group. We want you to have t-shirts and videos and all that. But if the only way you can support us right now is through a flat donation, of course, we never balk. We never balk, Brian, at a flat donation. We want to thank Mark Hardy of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Mike Sanho, Richard Brown of Ottawa, Kansas. Is that right? Kansas, KS, yeah.
Yep.
Rick Bennett, substantial donation. Bruce Marple of Jacksonville, Florida. Scott Gorman of Prescott, Arizona, a substantial donation. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. That is another way. If that's the way you choose, you can certainly support us with a flat donation, and we'll put that money into good causes to continue to reach out to bikers around the world. All right, guys. So, with that said, Brian, let me say this, and then I want to wrap this podcast up by talking about maybe some of the lessons and some of the things that you may do. So the only other thing I want to mention, these new 2017s, which we'll reveal in our video, the new clutch reservoirs, hydraulic clutches up on the left handlebars, guys. It has a window, like my 2014 Street Glide, of course, my 2013 Police Bike, my Electra Glide. They all have inspection windows, and there's a little mark in the middle or a bubble, and you can quickly check your fluid levels, your .4 brake fluid levels. That's what they use in the clutch master cylinder too. We found that on the new 2017, they decided to get rid of that inspection window. So we did a little bit of research for you guys. We're like, okay, that's wonderful. How the hell do you check this fluid? So the way it works is, and we read in the service manual that the clutch fluid should never have to be removed or added during the life, as long as the clutch is working appropriately. They do suggest that you pop the top of the reservoir off and use a .4 brake fluid moisture tester. There is a Harley part number. Do you want to give it to us, Brian?
The Harley part number is HD-48497-A Atom.
We looked all over for this. We even called our local dealership, and our local dealership didn't even know what it was. And I'm going to talk to them tomorrow in person a little bit, because I talked to a parts guy, not an actual mechanic. So I'm going to talk to one of my mechanic buddies. But we looked them up on Amazon, and for the price of $10, you can get a .4 brake fluid moisture tester. And on Amazon Prime, I'll link to it in the show notes. You guys know what I'm talking about. And basically they say that all you need to do is test the moisture, and you should replace, of course, that's very standard. You should replace your brake fluid or your hydraulic clutch fluid every 2 years. But if it reads 3% or more moisture in there, then you should replace it sooner. And that's all they have to say about that. So In that video, we talk about that, and I'm actually going to add an additional video file for those that purchase our Milwaukee-Eight oil change video. And I ordered one right here as Brian and I sat waiting for the podcast. I ordered the $10 moisture tester, and it's really actually simple. You just frickin' buy it. You take the top off, you stick it in the fluid, and it tells you, it has a little light that tells you how much percent moisture. But nonetheless, we will show you guys how to use it. But that was an interesting change to me, to the Milwaukee-Eight, because up to this point, they've had the inspection windows, and they've never, ever told you to have the specific gauge to test moisture. What's up? Hey, come over here. We're doing a podcast, but my 12-year-old she's got school in the morning, so she's just saying goodnight. That's because we aren't live. We're just recording a podcast. All right. Love you. Nate, sleep tight. All right. So that was something new. So let's take it out, Brian. You've alluded to it. I had to stop you a few times. But, what's your, now that you've, lack of better term, seen the light a little bit, and you're a little bit more comfortable with your new Harley purchase, and you're part of the lab team now and running, helping run the store and all that. And you've been firsthand realized that maybe you have a little bit of lack of a trust in this particular dealership. And maybe overall, you just have the comfort now of being there and seeing firsthand how important it is and how satisfying it is, doing your own maintenance and rolling out for 2,000, 2,500 miles here in another week, and just having that comfort in your back pocket. What's your, what are you going to do about this situation?
Well, I'm going to go back to the dealership and express my displeasure in the service that I've gotten thus far, and let them know that I seriously...
I think you should walk, before you do that, I think you should walk in and find the nearest table, dude, and just go in, throw your helmet on the ground, take one glove off, throw it on the ground, take your other glove off, throw it on the ground, and then grab a table, one preferably with papers and shit all over it.
And toss it.
And just fucking flip it over and go, and just throw your hands up in the air. Actually, you should have a mic, and just do a mic drop on top of it, turn around, and walk out, dude.
I can probably do that, but I would have to most likely get arrested by a friend, so...
One of your non-retired friends would probably have to put the old handcuffs on you. So I'm kidding. Anyways, go back to I needed to do that. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to go in and express my displeasure at the quality of service I've gotten so far, and point out all these errors that I've found,
right,
or we've found, and
they don't know your dealership. A lot of dealerships know us. They don't really realize that you work for Law Abiding Biker Media. You should wear your shirt.
Oh, I will. And I've flown the colors in there a few times for them. So
our club colors?
No, the Law Abiding Biker colors.
Yeah,
so,
good.
And so they know
they're about to be
there's
educated.
A few of them that know, that we know what's going on. In fact, the funny thing is,
they do by the way you talk. Yeah, go ahead.
A few days ago, from one of the salesmen asking me, "Hey, how are things going?" And this isn't the guy that I even bought the bike from. Just another salesman calling and asking how things are going. So I was in the middle of something, or I would have given him an earful about stuff, but he's a salesman, not a service guy either. So, but I'm going to go into the service area and let him know I'm not happy with the service that I've gotten. And, depending on how things go, I'm probably going to ask for a refund of all of the rest of the services that I have left, which is 10.
Right.
Which is a substantial amount of money.
Yep.
And say, hey, you guys have been...
You've proven yourself to...
Given 2 opportunities, and you've messed them both up, so let's give me a refund.
I like that. I like it.
And then I can use that money to buy all kinds of new parts out of our store.
Correct. And Brian gets them at cost because he actually orders the shit for the store. He helps Big Daddy. So he's even that much ahead. He gets it at cost. Yeah. It was what else about today? That was it, guys. I hope the video will be out before this podcast airs because, like I say, we batch process, but we did the YouTube Live. Make sure you have your alerts on because we're doing a lot of YouTube Live stuff now. I know there's still all you diehards for the podcast. We'll keep pumping that out. And the YouTube channel's blowing up. I think we're at about 40,000 subscribers now, and a little bit like 7.3 million views, which is just phenomenal, guys. Make sure you're subscribed and all that. We had a phenomenal day in the garage. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
One more thing I'd like to point out. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the plans for what Harley's doing for their 2018 models.
Oh, yeah, right. Good call.
And the Milwaukee-Eights are moving into many more models.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot more models out there now in 2018 with the Milwaukee-Eight motors in them.
Yep.
So
good call. And
it's good stuff to know and learn and be prepared for, because that motor's going to be a lot more prolific throughout the models.
Yep. Good call. And with that said, we are going to do a podcast. We need to do that maybe going into the winter. We'll discuss each of the new and our thoughts on the new 2018s. Also, guys, the video will work for, our Milwaukee-Eight. It doesn't matter which bike it is, guys. We show you, it's the same motor. We're servicing the motor, and everything else, the brakes and the axles and the fluids and everything else is all the same, guys. They're just wrapping different tanks. A lot of guys get hung up on that. Oh, well, it's it's a Ultra and not a Street Glide, or it's a Street Glide and not a Road Glide, and it's a Road King. It doesn't matter, guys. Our video is going to cover you, because again, all those components are pretty much the same. What we show you, the techniques, it's going to get you 99.9% of the way there. And the rest is easy. So it doesn't matter. That's why we label it the Milwaukee-Eight service, because all those bikes, and like I say, axles and fluids and brakes and everything, we show you how to do kickstands and belt deflection. It's all the same, guys. It's all the same. So good. And we do need to talk about, I'm excited about a few of those new bikes and all that, guys. But Brian, quite a day. Had a few Frosties in the garage. Got a great video filmed, and finished the night off, just me and you right here with the podcast to finish it off, guys. Thanks for all your support, guys. We're going to take it out. Yes.
Any ideas from podcast listeners on a song?
Oh, yeah. Good call. You guys can comment, lawabidingbiker.com/ on whatever episode number this is. We're looking for a song, because we have an intro song for everybody. We can't find one for Grunt. Why don't you tell them the story behind Grunt a little? Because that would help them pick a song. You know what I mean? Well, it's hard to pick a song when all you know is your nickname's Grunt.
Yeah, I served in the Marine Corps. I was a 0311 infantry rifleman, and the nickname for Marine Corps infantry is Grunt. Mm-hmm. Big Daddy Kane came up with an alternate reason for that nickname, saying I made too much noise when I was partaking in certain activities.
Oh, so okay.
I still don't know how he ever knows that.
That's scary.
Promised me that he wasn't looking, so. But
that's nice. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas, we're going to try to find one. We may have one picked out by the time this airs, but if you come up with any great ideas, of course, comment. You can comment right on the website and all that kind of guys stuff. So call to action. Don't forget, we are an official Sena and IMC headset dealer. That's right. lawabidingbiker.com/store. It is the Law Abiding Biker store. Get our Biker Boom wired 7-pin headset, the only wired headset we recommend. Fraction of the price of the Harley headset that has that good old HD logo stamped on it, and they stick it to you. It's good for full, half, three-quarter, no helmet versions available, and full boombox integration. That's right, voice commands, the whole deal, the full meal deal. Also get all our popular Sena Bluetooth wireless headset products. And we have the FreeWire Bluetooth transmitter, of course, in our store, receiver device for your boombox system. Full boombox integration, guys, wirelessly with our Sena products. They are the best in the industry, which is why we brought their name to our store. And again, by purchasing from our store, you are helping. You're getting great products, and you know the faces behind Law Abiding Biker Media. You're helping to put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace out.